to you or something. This is only like the third time I've broadcasted on here. Oh, it looks like it worked.
How you doing? It's work. You're good.
With my my interesting internet.
What's interesting about your internet?
Well, I tend to think I have pretty good internet.
Yeah.
I don't know what the download speed is, but like I've never had any problems. And then I got to be honest with you, when I came on here, I actually said I was trying to broadcast on Periscope.
Right.
And for some reason on Periscope, it was getting hung up on like stream initializing.
Okay. And it couldn't do it.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me stream on there. And then I came on here, no problem, you know.
So where are you headed right now in your house here? What are you doing? You're starting to pack. You're getting ready. Moving stressful. You know that, right? Oh my God, yeah.
Like I bought. You can see I bought before too. Like I bought these storage bins because the other thing is the building I'm moving into. I didn't realize this when I guess I did to an extent, but not to the full extent. When I bought the condo,
yes,
I didn't realize how much of a pain in the ass these condo associations are, like with their rules and their bullshit.
Oh, there's a lot. Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Chris Bruce is in the house. Good to see you, sir. Yeah.
There's a rule that you're actually not, like, I have a storage unit in the basement that comes with the unit, and you're not allowed to store cardboard boxes down there.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because they hold mold and they're flammable. So I do get that. And then if you have bugs in them, and cockroaches like cardboard. Bella says, "Oh yeah, they have rules. I hate." Have you ever talked to Bella? Bella's a hoot. Did you hear it this morning? Hi, Bella. You made my show very exciting. We got to get you earbuds, Bella. Frasier's here. How are you, Frasier? Just taking a quick break here for a few minutes. I got to meet Captain Rehab in person. I was overjoyed. So here you go.
I think I said something to Bella this morning that was probably crude, like completely joking.
Yeah, well, you can apologize right now. She can't read the comments anyways. You know that, right? Because most people, when they're on the phone, they can only see their picture. Like right now, are you seeing comments? No.
I can see comments.
Can you see comments now? That's good. Okay, because that was not the way it was before. Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm on an Android now.
Yes.
But typically Android is actually, we get the crap last. Usually with these apps.
Yeah, and I don't know why that is, because really, if you think about it, Android probably has millions and millions of phones all over the place. I run Linux, right? I run Ubuntu, and so some of the features are really wacky, even though it's in Google. So some of the stuff doesn't work properly, but it does run smoothly.
Well, what drove me nuts was like on Periscope, and I noticed somebody brought it up last night during that Q&A thing.
Yes.
About the background audio.
Right.
And it drove me nuts because I got rid of my iPhone back in September. I had an iPhone, whatever it was, the iPhone 11 or whatever, and I was due for an upgrade, and I didn't want to wait for the 12 because it was delayed. So I got the Samsung whatever, and what drove me nuts going from the iPhone to the Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see what Bella said? He said a no to me. Why?
I don't remember what I said either. It was stupid though, whatever I said.
Yeah.
But when I
Hi, Steven. How are you?
iPhones on Periscope always had background audio.
Okay.
And then I went to the Android, and I didn't have background audio anymore.
Yeah.
And
So, can I ask you a personal question? What made you move? Was it just time? Were you ready to own a place, or?
It was a couple things. It was, I mean, first of all, the interest rates here on loans is like historic lows, so that was like a no-brainer right there. The interest rates were just ridiculously low. But I had thought about doing this a couple of years ago,
Yes.
maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. And the thing that stopped me from doing it back then was, so I'm a civil engineer.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
so
You know what? You know what I was going to guess, honestly, just by your attire, the way you are. I was thinking either programmer or infrastructure, something, because I talk to a lot of IT people, right? And I was thinking he is like 90% of the programmers I talk to.
But I thought about doing it a couple of years ago, but I moved to so I moved to Philly about 5 years ago.
Yes.
And I moved from New Jersey.
She's dying to know what you said to her. She keeps asking. So, do you remember? He was saying you're the most lovely woman he'd ever met, and that he had strange feelings for you. I think that's what it was. Yeah, so something.
That's exactly what. Thank you for recollecting my.
Yeah.
You know, my memory just tend to go every once in a while.
I found the information that she had this morning, though, was really interesting. She said OBS. Yes. Yeah, you know, there's a program called OBS too, but this is a little bit different. This OBS.
About that this morning too. The OBS. Somebody was talking about it recently.
Yeah. Do you have a headset? Because you're kind of crackling a little bit there as you're doing the massive movement.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me.
He goes, "What box is?" He goes, "What headset and what box is that in?" Yes.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. I do, but can I find it right now? That's a different story.
Oh, good luck, right? Yeah. I would love to have you on one morning. Are you open to that when you're camera ready, or you'd like to keep the persona of the I'm a 60-year-old man?
I think I'm not connecting.
Well, you're upside down now. There you go. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Now I have.
Oh, you're great.
Better.
Oh no, way better. It's like a new world. It's a new world. Yeah. So you can't.
Put these earbuds in.
Yeah, I can't hear myself. The connectivity was good. Can you hear the beauty of the essence of my voice better now? Yeah.
Yes, no, it sounds good now.
Perfect. And you sound way better
now.
Bella, do you want to ask him any other question? I need to know what mic I should buy. Oh, right here. Okay, I'll put it in the chat too. But you know the one you were in today, I actually posted it in it. It's right there. The Fifine K678. And it's a wonderful microphone. If you like what this sounds like.
Are these like the mics with like the particle filters and all that crap?
It's kind of like a cheap Yeti. It's a cheap Yeti. I just put it here in the chat. So if you're interested, and that'll give you all the information you need right there. But if you go big league yourself, sir, because you definitely got the personality and the brain, and you have quick wit, you would be phenomenal on here. You know, if you weren't in movement mode.
Yeah, it's and I won't be in movement mode for too long. The good news is that I delayed my packing, so believe it or not, I'm actually moving on Thursday morning.
Right.
So I have about 36 hours to finish. Um,
What has been the most stressful part for you in the move, though? What would you say was the most stressful part?
well, there's two things I would say. One is
Mm-hmm.
this apartment is so tiny, so being able to pack everything while still living here
Yes.
and still having the space to live. Plus, like I said, I have two dogs, so
What is
they're
the
running
square footage?
around and it's just
Yeah. What is the square footage there, if you don't mind me asking? Because I'm like in Toronto. I don't know
I
if you
would
know this.
say if I had to guess,
Yeah.
if I had to guess,
Yeah.
I would probably say between it. Now this is a one bedroom, but the bedroom is tiny, and so total square footage probably 450.
Yeah. And you know what? That is an average apartment condo in Toronto. And they sell
Yep.
all this miniature furniture for people that weigh 92 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not built for real men. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or anyone eating anything beyond meat. Like
Right.
you and I
Yep.
would have to be total vegan or juicing every day and
Right.
running nonstop. So yeah, I've lost. What have I lost now? I bet I've lost 25 pounds. So
That's a pretty
I,
good. How long did it take you to do that?
I've 3 months. 3 months.
That's
I
not
did
bad.
it. Yeah, and I've been doing a lot less drinking, and
Yep.
which will always get rid of the calories. And I've been off
Yep.
meat for a while. I've been doing juicing. My wife's got the juicing thing going. So
So when you went off meat, what did you substitute with like fish instead, or
yes,
I guess what kind of protein did you switch to,
well, I don't know if you
if any?
know this, but a lot of greens actually have protein. So do beans. But you miss the texture, right? So I've been doing like tuna sandwiches, things like that. But I've been eating mostly, honestly, you can how potatoes, which you would think would only make you
Hmm.
huge. They didn't, and greens,
Right.
some mixed nuts, and juicing. And it's been falling off me. You know what's really cool,
Well,
and you're probably like me. I have pants that I wore 5 years ago. I have pants that were
yep.
9 years ago. They all fit now, and my biggest
That's
clothes
awesome.
look like I'm wearing a bag. So they might
Yeah.
be time.
So the one thing I noticed in the foods that you mentioned, because I just recently had this conversation with my doctor too.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you really cut out carbs.
I cut out alcohol, buddy. I was drinking here. You know what
Well,
was
carbs
killing
is
me?
yeah,
You know what was killing
and
me?
alcohol.
Iced tea and tequila, my favorite drink. And some nights
Yep.
I'd have 5 or 6 of those, and guess what happens? You're into 1,000 calories of emptiness.
Yeah.
Hey, Banner Man, how are you? Are you
Yes,
tight with
sir.
the band? Are you tight with the Banner Man?
I have a similar relationship with the Bannerman that I think I had with you,
Yeah,
being the unknown face. This might be the first time Bannerman's seen me.
Banner Man. It's the
Just
unveiling
being
party.
that witty guy.
Yeah. See, to me, it reminds me of Kiss when they got out of the makeup. You know, they had a few years that no one knew what Gene Simmons looked like. He took the makeup off, and then they decided to put it back on. So you now have to be a legitimate star. There's no more excuses. We now know who you are, where you look. You know,
Yeah.
it's time. You need to get the fine microphone and let the joy begin. Hey, listen, I would love to have you on the show.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah, you're quick wit, and it
Yeah.
sounds like you'll go ahead.
Oh yeah. No, I would enjoy doing that. It's just I would definitely we'd have to plan it out because I know you go on pretty early in the morning.
Well,
And
I try to do one in the
early.
morning, one in the morning, and one at night. I try to do, And occasionally, if I see someone, like I saw you today, and I went, I'm not going to get this opportunity to talk to him again. So I'm going to jump in here, see what I can do.
Yeah. But then I could do either one. It's just I always get stuck. It's funny. You caught me in one of these weird days because I'm moving and everything. I have the day off from work. But normally, I wake up at like 6:30, take my dogs out on a 45 minute walk, come back, feed them, go to work, and then I'm back at like 6:30 at night, take the dogs out for a walk again, and I'm usually exhausted by the time I get home.
Oh, I bet.
But
I bet. But I'll tell you, if you do see, for me, I think I got addicted to the chewing. Do you know what I mean? Like if you love meat, like, and my big thing was chicken. Like if I could live on pie and chicken and they were low cal, I'd be the happiest man in the world. But the problem is neither one of those are good for you. The other thing I realized too is that food that's alive is not in a box. You know what I mean? In almost anything that's good for you is not in a box or at Jack in the Box or In-N-Out Burgers, right? But all the stuff that tastes so incredibly well is unfortunately not too good for you.
Right. And then the stuff, when you do make the stuff that's good for you, that tastes good, it takes a lot of effort and time to put it together.
Yeah.
I say that now. I should do my research, and I'm sure there is, quick recipes to make and all that.
British Spy, how are you today? Thank you for being by. He says the feed is glitchy. I'm so sorry. Well, he's on the move. He's moving literally. So I think that might be why you're thinking it's glitchy. But Haps, go ahead.
Or I just see Chris says he's moving too, so he feels the pain.
Chris, where are you moving? Yeah, I think Chris has a bike, right? A motorbike.
I think so. I was going to say the second most stressful part of this move has been. So I closed on the condo last week, and this is an old building. So it's like they converted it. It's actually an old hospital.
Oh,
they
no
converted
way.
an old hospital into condos. So it's an old building, and so of course what happened was on this past weekend. So I knew a couple of things that I wanted to work on before moving, just like minor things. And one of those things was swapping out the hoses for the washer,
right?
Because they had rubber hoses installed, and I wanted the steel braided hoses. Well, it turned out that I really didn't think about it too much because I got there and forget about the rubber hoses versus the steel braided hoses. I go to look at those valves, the shutoff valves, and they're God only knows how old. And so I get them turned off to where I can replace the hoses, and then I was just gonna leave them off since I wasn't gonna be there for like a week until I moved in. And but then before I left, I said, let me just give them a quick test and open them up. And I didn't even open up. Yeah, I didn't even open them up the whole way. But I opened them up maybe like a turn, and water. What water? No, it wasn't that bad. Water started dripping out of the packing nut where the handle comes out of the valve, and I'm like, screw this. I just screwed that shit right back shut, and I said, I'm getting a plumber in here to replace these valves before this turns into a freaking pool.
Well, here's the thing: if you have an accident and it blows up, you're responsible for the repairs on your floor plus their floor, and your life will become a living nightmare.
Right.
You don't need that by any stretch of imagination.
Right.
Are you going to do the challenge, by the way, or is it too late to do the challenge? To get the 250 per week every broadcast type of thing. Between all the people
I think
you should be able to get enough people in the room. You probably have a beautiful computer, so you don't need that part.
yeah. I think it's too late to do it, but I got to be honest. I just do this for fun,
Chucks
for
and
the hell of
giggles.
it, you know.
Chucks and giggles. It's
Yeah.
not for the big money. Chris
Right.
says it's too
for
late.
me, and I don't have any problem with anyone that wants to try and monetize on this or anything. I think that's great. But
yeah.
when I come on here, I just do it for the hell of it.
I think you like to stir shit. I think that's your favorite thing.
Yeah.
You're like the kid that when the guy rode by and went, "Hey, how you doing?" And you throw a stick in the back wheel and you go, "Oh wow, how'd that happen?"
Well, I was talking the other. Now I didn't partake in this. I was just a bystander. But back in college, I remember we had a dorm that was located right along a street. So our window looked out on the street, and we were elevated up off the street maybe like 20, 30 feet. And I will never forget, we got or not me, but a bunch of people I was with got water balloons, and they just started throwing water balloons at people on the street. And man, what was kind of funny about it was it took it probably took like 5 or 6 hits until somebody actually did something.
Oh my God. Chris says it's cool to be able to give a gift to show support. And I would agree with that. And I like that. I like that as well. So in the past, is the gift been your sarcasm, or have you actually given me a gift? He's thinking.
I think
he's thinking.
I think me. I think it's just been sarcasm for me, but I don't know that I've given anybody anything, to be honest, in the past. But I wouldn't mind doing it.
You get free coins though, so you must have used those up at one point. Yeah, you must have, probably on the ladies or something. Are you a married man? Are you single? Like what? So all the ladies that have now seen Captain Rehab here, they're going to want to know if you're available for the taking.
Yeah, I'm single. I'm a single civil engineer in Philly. 28 years old. Good job, all that. So if you if you're looking, give me a shout. And and
he's going to
accepting applications.
He's going to be broadcasting soon on certain times. I'm gonna pester him now to go on once a week. Maybe we'll do something together. We'll get special guest stars like Bannerman and Randy W. Horton.
Yeah.
Maybe even Fraser. Yeah.
It's funny. I don't even.
Had Fraser seen you before?
I don't think. No, I don't think Fraser has, and I'll tell you right now, I don't think Randy's ever seen me before either.
So what?
I think now you and Fraser have seen me, but not Randy. I think Randy's still the only one that hasn't seen me yet.
Terrible. You should invite him in. You should invite Randy and so you can just get a glimpse of you here, the glory of you. Because I got to go soon, but listen, I really
getting glitchy on my end.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a sign. Maybe that is a sign that your phone's probably cooking, man. Is it hot? Is it warm? It could be, yeah. Oh, you're starting to cook.
I didn't catch the last part.
I was asking if your phone was getting
warm.
Yeah, your phone.
That's what I heard.
You could take that many ways. Your phone, sir. Yes.
No, my phone is actually my phone is okay. I thought for a second you were asking me about cooking something, or because it got all glitchy.
Yeah.
For a second.
Are you a good cook? Is that something you'd be interested in doing? Is cooking?
So that's a funny question. So yes, I actually am. I used to, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
I took a lot of cooking classes and stuff like that, and then on top of that, when I was in college,
Yes.
in my fraternity, I was the house steward for 2 years. So
Oh
I did
wow.
all
So,
the
so you got the
yeah,
skills.
I did all the meal planning, the
Yeah.
shopping, and then usually uh, I didn't cook every day of the week, but I
Yeah.
usually tried to cook like 2 or 3 nights a week.
So what
And
dish what dish can you make mean? Like if you had some pretty lady over, what would you cook her? You know.
um, I would say probably
Yeah. Yeah.
lasagna, or if I was doing something a little bit more out of the box, I guess I would say maybe like a Monte Cristo, or like a pasticcio,
Oh wow,
which
you
is
can really
almost like a
get.
Greek.
Yeah, you can go to town. Okay, so would you serve wine or would you be enough? Well, like you wouldn't
Oh
need the
no,
whining. You're thinking the dining. You wouldn't need the whining and the dining together. Just you and the food. I'd go with the wine.
no,
The wine's always. I'd go with the wine.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The wine can only help; it can't hurt. In most cases, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to get into the cases where it can't.
Well, I well it depends on the amount of wine. The amount of
Yes, yes,
right.
right.
Like if you invited Bella over, right, and you gave her, like the meal and the wine. She's gone anyways. I think she's gone.
Yeah,
She might still be there, but Bella is actually a hoot. I hope she gets the mic because then I can hear her crystal clear in the morning. That'll be great. You actually
yeah.
sound not too bad when you're not moving with your. What do you got there? Like iBuds?
These are not the iPhone ones. These are
They
the hell are they called?
they sound
I think they
good.
were called the Anchor Sound Cores or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Which
They're not bad.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I like the Anchor brand. I think they make some pretty good stuff, and they usually back it with a pretty good warranty. That's my
Here's the
reason
other
for
thing
buying a
I
lot of their
want to
stuff.
present with you. If you're feeling like you're not camera ready in the morning, I can do what I do for Bella. You could come in and just talk, but we would not see you. You know what I wish they did have is we could put a picture up and we could just continue the picture of the old guy
Yep.
and have you up as a guest.
Well,
Oh my God, that would be funny.
I
But now that we know you are the son of that guy, that maybe that's what we could go.
yeah
That could be. My dad wasn't feeling well that day, so I jumped in.
yeah.
I took one for
I
the team.
Well, I can always go and find a good mask or something, and see if I can find well that I could wear that's another thing. I could wear a face mask that doesn't reveal my you know
Yes. All this is real time good stuff. So listen, I'm gonna go. My break is done at work. I actually got to
Yep.
go. I actually have to go to the temple and check on things. But I would love
Yep.
to have you on as a guest. I'd like you in the comments. You're always fun. But even if we had you once a week come up, that would be great. And you could tell us about your week. You could tell us how the cooking's going, the wine, the women, the song, the new condo. Like now that we've formed this relationship of what was it, 22 seconds or 22 minutes? But yeah. But knowing you probably have a beautiful
Yeah.
computer. You could just get a half decent mic and you'd be rocking it. And you could have the banner man up. Oh my God, he's a hoot. Do you go to
Yeah,
his groups?
and
Do
and
you
I'll tell you too.
go ahead?
I go into Bannerman's every once in a while, but the other thing that I'll tell you about me, which is kind of, I don't know why, and I can't explain it, but I, like, for some reason, things always happen to me. So I just have so many stories about, like, just crap happening, because, like, even closing on my condo,
Yeah,
everything went wrong. Like, everything went wrong. It's like to the point where my real estate agent said this is the worst closing I've ever been involved in. And so, like, if things can go wrong, things go wrong with me. And so, it sucks, but it creates good stories. I'll tell you that.
It's good content. It's all about the good content.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yep. Yep.
I consider having a cooking show if you like that. Even if you did something, made a
Yeah.
meal
Well.
once.
Yeah, and I would definitely like to do that. The reason I haven't done that, and I'll tell you right now,
Yes.
and this is a mess, but because I'm packing. This is my
Yeah.
kitchen.
Yeah, it's
That
hard to
is the
cook.
size of my kitchen.
Yeah, that's hard to cook. But the new place is bigger. It's a nicer kitchen.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The place that I'm going to, it has like a galley style kitchen. So
Yeah.
you have counters on both sides, and it's at least double that size, probably triple.
So why
I'll
don't we,
actually
when
have
you get
space
moved
to.
in, why don't we have a move-in show? You can show the ladies where you'll cook the meal. This is all for you. I did this for you, babe.
Yes, and I can definitely do that. I will say though, or I move on Thursday, but the other funny thing is, this is like I'm treating this like a fresh move. So, it's time to start fresh, and so like I'm not taking all of my furniture. So like I have a lot of new furniture that's getting delivered actually a week from today. So a week from today, I'll have all my new furniture in. So then I'll be good to go. I'll be all furnished and everything. But
yeah, you're excited. I can tell. I can tell you're excited. Yeah, that's good.
It's nice to start new, and I don't know if I've finished my thought earlier, but the part of the reason that I stopped myself from buying a couple of years ago was because my job situation. I've always been stable in my job, and I've my choice to leave each firm that I left was a voluntary thing on my part. There were different things that went wrong, but my dad would tell me, he would say, you come home every day and you call me and you just complain about some shit that went on at work. And he said with that kind of stuff going on, he said don't buy, because you're not stable there. You don't know, if you don't like your job, then who's to say that you're going to be there, for how long. And so anyways, about a year ago, I got a new job with a different firm, and this firm is like treating me like freaking royalty.
Oh,
So,
that's good. You deserve that. You deserve that, man.
Yeah.
I intuitively get you work very hard and you're very committed and loyal.
So that's kind of what changed things. Was about a year ago, I got that job working for this firm that I work for now. And my dad said, I don't notice you call me every day now, but I don't, you don't complain about work. You don't do those things. And he said, I think you're good now.
See, old people know, because we've been through that shit, right? We've got we've had the boots. We've run through the mud, so we know. And he was just probably trying to save you some pain. That's all.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Have you ever been married or anything like that? Do you?
No.
Oh, good man.
No,
okay.
I haven't. Yeah.
Oh man.
And
woo! You dodged a bullet.
The way that I look at it is, the way I look at it, I mean, at least at this point in my life, I could have it either way, but I'm not going to force it, and so.
Yeah. When it's time, it'll happen.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. When you get on that potato diet we're talking about, and the greens and the fish, and you'll be hitting them with a stick going, hey, please get off me. Like, I need to breathe.
Yeah. Yep.
I do have to go, buddy. Thank you. It was so nice meeting you.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Yes, same to you. Yep.
I have to remember how do I exit here again? How do I do this?
Definitely not a question for me.
I got it.
Yeah. I think we're back. I don't know. I don't know how all this works. Because now my left side is frozen where Mike was. The time's still running though. I can't tell. I think it's good now. Looks like it's just loading. That's right, Chris. New year, new beginning. That's exactly right, man. And for the last 5 years that I've been here, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I worked. I worked for. Hey, Bella, Bella, Arkansas is your last name Arkansas, or are you located in Arkansas? Because I'm in Philly, and I saw that comment. It's snowing, or at least it was earlier. It's snowing here in Philly too. Still snowing. But no, Chris, I've been here for 5 years, and unfortunately, I've worked for 3 different firms in the last. Well, we're coming up on 6 years now, but I've worked for 3 different firms in the last 6 years, and one of those firms I've worked for twice. So I worked for them, I left, and then I came back. And that is not the firm that I currently work for. So I left that firm twice. And unfortunately, each time that I was at one of these firms, I felt underappreciated. I know, and it's funny because I think you probably sense, I don't know, maybe not, but you probably sense that I have some form of confidence in talking and all that. And I'll tell you right now that 5-6 years ago, that was not the case. Or maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, that was not the case. I came out of college. And unfortunately, I came out of college and I didn't do, I didn't do what I should have done in college. I don't regret anything, but if I could go back and do it differently, I would. And so when I was in college, I focused a little bit too much on my fraternity, which did teach me things. But did those things help me get a job out of college? No, not really. So I learned leadership skills. I learned, how to take care of myself and all those things. But when I was graduating college, I didn't get any help from anybody to get a job, and so what I had to do, unfortunately, was. That's right. Hindsight is always 20/20. And what I had to do was graduating college. I remember I was sitting on 2 different job offers, and those were the only job offers that I had. And one of them was a full-time job for a company, but they couldn't. Yeah. But the company that I had a full-time job offer from, it wasn't even a proper full-time job offer because they had no guarantee that they could. It was a construction project that was seasonal, and so at the end of the season, they did construction from like maybe April, May through November, December. They couldn't guarantee me employment after the end of the construction season. So now on top of that, that was a salaried position where I was, salaried is based on a 40-hour work week. However, there was an expectation ahead of time that I was going to be working 72 hours a week. I was going to be working 12-hour shifts 6 days a week. And getting paid for 40. And so that was offer number 1. Offer number 2 that I had was actually on the same construction project, except working for the construction manager instead of the contractor. And they offered me contract job, so I wasn't even, technically I wasn't like an employee of theirs, so I didn't get benefits, I didn't get health insurance or any of that stuff. And so I had that option, and that option was I would get paid by the hour for all the hours that I worked. And overtime, I would get paid time and a half. And there was an expectation that, I would be working 72 hours a week. So neither of those were very good options. And like I said, one of them, you're working 72 hours a week and getting paid for 40. The other one, you're working 72 hours a week and you're getting paid for it, but you're not, you're not insured. You're not an employee. So anyways, I was sitting there just before graduation, and I took the hourly one, which I knew there was inherent risk for doing that because there was no guarantee that what if something happened, if I got hurt, I was screwed. I wasn't insured. But I took that one, and I said to myself, unfortunately, I did it to myself. Like I said, if I had done a better job in school, then these are things that I wouldn't have had to worry about. And yeah, yeah. And it's tough, man. I used to do it back in the day, but man, that is really, it takes a toll on you. And I don't know how I did it, because looking at myself now, I mean, and I did that, 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week. I did that for 6 months straight. And I did that for 6 months straight. And not only that, but there was a point in time when they were actually going to cut my hours. And I said, you can't do that. I said, me taking this job was really contingent on working those 72 hours because I needed that overtime pay. And so, so they wound up giving me the 72 hours back, but they gave it back to me in multiple different shifts. No, this was hell, man. This was hell, because what wound up happening was, unfortunately for me, my boss and his boss, they were not great people. And what wound up happening was, when they cut my hours back, and I told them I need 72 hours, like that's, the whole reason I took this job instead of the other one was under the premise that I was going to get 72 hours a week and I was going to be paid overtime for it. Because if they told me that this job I was only going to get 40 hours or whatever, I think they switched it, so they wanted me to get 48 hours a week. 8 hours of overtime pay is a lot different than 32 hours of overtime pay. And so I told them that, if I knew that they weren't going to guarantee me 72 hours a week, that I would have taken the other job. And so what they did was they came back to me, and initially they only offered me like 56 hours or something. And I said, no, you have to give me the full 72. That's what I want. And they wouldn't do it for me. And so I wound up, there were, it's a long story, but the portion of the construction project that I worked on was having issues, where the contractor was falling behind, and my boss, who was kind of in charge of all that, sorry, I'm looking at the comments. How long had you been with them when they tried to change hours? I had only been there for, I want to say maybe 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And after 2 or 3 weeks, they changed on me. They said, "Oh yeah, we're going to cut your hours back." And I said, "Yeah, no, that's not going to work." I don't have an email for the HAPS team, Susan. Sorry. Um, but yeah, I'd only been there for 2 or 3 weeks when they tried to cut it back, and then when I asked them for the 72 hours back, they only gave me 56 or something. And like I said, I wasn't insured or anything, and so I was banking on that extra money from all those overtime hours, and so I, without going into tons of detail, um, like I said, this portion of the construction project was falling behind, and probably, but I'll tell you some other BS that they wound up bringing up, and you'll probably get a laugh out of that, but um, yeah, I wound up going to my boss's boss because he had come out on the construction site because of all the issues with the delays, and I had met him, and he liked me. He really liked me. He thought, because I took pride in my work. Most of the people that I worked with, quite frankly, they didn't take pride in the work. They didn't give a shit, and part of that is I would attribute it to they were contract employees. They don't work for the company. They know they're going to be laid off at the end. What incentive do they have to do good work when they can just do passable work and fuck off? Part of my French. And so anyways, when he came out with me and he saw what I was doing, the level of attentiveness and recording and everything that I was doing, it was on a whole other level compared to what everyone else was doing. And it's because I take pride in my work, number one, and number two, the thing is with these construction projects, like you need to take good notes and good details as an inspector, because if something ever comes up down the road and it goes to court, if somebody says to me, what happened on July 14th of 2014, you think I'm gonna fucking remember what happened that day? Absolutely not. So the only thing I have to save me is good notes. If I take good notes of what happened that day, then I can go back and look at those notes, and they can go back and look at those notes and figure out what happened, and so anyways, I went to this head honcho boss and told him that I wanted my hours back, and he made it happen. He made it happen. Obviously not to the my bosses were pissed because I went around their back and I got my hours back, but not through them. Now I gave them a chance. That's what's bullshit, is I gave them a chance to fix it and they didn't. And so I can't be responsible for that. I gave them a chance. I let them fix the issue and they didn't fix it. So I had to go above them. That it was either that or accept the fact that you're going to get less hours. And, that wasn't right. So, anyways, that was not an enjoyable job, because as soon as I went above them and got that change made through their boss, they had like a personal vendetta out on me, and that I remember that that guy was such an asshole. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what he was. He was so nasty, that guy. And it's funny because I look now where I'm at, and it's just mind blowing to me that somebody of his nature treated me in the way that he did, because where I'm at now, I could totally be his boss. And the guy's old. He's older, but I could totally be his boss. And man, it would be funny if that were to ever happen. But he was on a power trip. That's what it was. He was on a power trip. He was a welder for a number of years, and then the construction manager wound up he was a welder on the project for one of the contractors, and then the construction manager wound up hiring him as a quality control person, and then all of a sudden he became the lead inspector. And so he was on a power trip, man. That's what it was. But I remember, talking about some of the ridiculous things in terms of, did they plan to cut my hours or whatnot? I don't know, but I'll tell you right now that the client, who was a very, very, very big company, basically complained about expenses and how we needed to cut costs down for them. And I will never forget that this lead inspector, so my boss's boss, he told me that when they came out and requested that I had to, not anybody else, but me and another guy had to carpool to a particular construction site, and then I was instructed. Now, we didn't work at the same construction site. He worked at one construction site and I worked at a different one, and my instructions were to carpool with him to his construction site and then get on a boat, because this was a project on a river, and I was instructed to get on a boat and take the boat to my construction site, and that's how I would get there. And by doing that, it would cut the expenses down for the client. Now, my construction site was maybe 10 to 15 miles from our construction field office. So by having me carpool at like 50 cents a mile, they were saving the client, 10 to 15, let's just say it's 15 miles. That's one way. So 30 miles a day times 50 cents a mile. They were saving the client $15 a day on a project that ultimately cost them billions of dollars. And again, this is a big company. And I will never forget them asking me to do that. And I obliged for one day. I was pissed off about it. I obliged for one day. I thought it was stupid. Why would you ask me to do that to save the client money? You're saving the client $15. I thought it was ridiculous. And it was ridiculous, quite frankly. And they weren't asking anybody else to do it. And quite frankly, the only way that I could think of it was, the reason they were asking me to do it was because, again, they had that personal vendetta against me. And I think they really tried to do, I still believe to this day, they tried, because they didn't like me, they tried to do anything in their power that they could do to try and get me to quit. I think that was their motive. Once I went over their head, they knew that I wasn't going to get fired, because they would never be able to fire me. That their boss loved me. So their only play was to get me to quit by making my life freaking miserable. And I'll tell you right now, they did a good fucking job of that. They made my life completely miserable for multiple months. And but I only carpooled for one day. And after that day, I remember I went with him. I got there. I took the boat. This was a very sensitive portion of the construction project that I was assigned to, because there were two different contractors involved. And so, there was, with one of them already being delayed, there were questions about, is one of them going to try and blame the other one for the delays and everything. And so, like, when I took the boat over to the other construction site where I was supposed to be, if they were busy doing something, I was not going to stop them, because then, it gave both contractors the ability to come and say, hey, the construction manager stopped progress and delayed us. So I had to sit there and wait until they were done. And I didn't wind up getting to my construction site until maybe 2.5 hours later than I normally would. And so anyways, and then on top of that, because again, I didn't want to interrupt anything, I had to leave at a time that would allow me to go back to the other site without interrupting operations. So I had to leave probably an hour and a half earlier, hour and a half, 2 hours earlier than what I normally would. So that was the ridiculous piece of it was, so you want me to carpool, which saves you $15, but then you're paying me, what did I say? Like 2 hours on the front end, 2 hours. You're paying me 4 hours of time to additional time to travel rather than actually being on the site doing my job. And that's what pissed me off, was they were preventing me from doing my job, to save them $15 in expenses. Although, and if somebody realistically looked at it, they were saving them $15 in expenses, but it was costing them money where I wasn't on the site. And so after that first night, I remember I didn't care. I didn't care. And I went to, I emailed my boss, I emailed his boss, and I said, screw your $15 a day. I said, I don't care. I said, I'll drive up there and I don't care if you're not going to pay me for it, but I'm going to go and do my fucking job. And I said, you don't, if you don't want to pay me the $15, so be it. But I'll eat it because I know what the right thing is, and this is not right. And so of course, that I get an email back because I'm sure they had to talk to HR or whatever about it, and of course they weren't allowed to. They weren't allowed to say, "Oh yeah, no problem, you suck it up." Of course, there were some HR related conversations, I'm sure, that happened where, basically they had to, they had to tell me, sure, you can drive again, and we'll pay you for your time. They couldn't not pay me for it, so, or for the mileage. So, and then actually, shortly after that, the guy that I was asked to carpool with, he actually he wound up quitting. And because he was not directly involved. He wasn't directly involved in all these things, but he saw everything that was going on, and he knew that people were playing games and doing stupid things and having personal vendettas against me, and he got sick of it, and he said, I'm sick of this drama and all the BS that's going on here. It's ridiculous. It's childish. It's, so, and I don't blame him. He was absolutely right. So that's unfortunate, but that is what happened. So, but yeah, that boss was definitely the worst boss I've ever worked for. With there was a close second. I remember my last boss at the firm I worked for before this. Well, my boss wound up, she left, and she took a job somewhere else. So I wound up getting reassigned a new boss that, it was her boss at the time, I think. But he was a vice president, and he did business development. He wasn't an engineer. He wasn't a civil engineer. His background was actually in electrical engineering. And so anyways, I remember that, he was just, especially at the end, he got real nasty with me. And these are things that I won't forget. But I remember he wouldn't to the end he wouldn't admit that they've screwed up, and because what wound up happening was at my last company, this was so messed up, but they I got licensed as a professional engineer in Pennsylvania. And not only did I get licensed, but around the same time that I got licensed, my boss left, like I said. So she left. So I was now the most senior engineer in our office. And then I'm just going to put you all down here. I'm going to fold some glasses. So I was the most senior engineer in our office. And I was qualified after having gotten the license based on my company's what do you call it? Blanking on the word. Their titles and their qualifications for those titles. I met all of the requirements to be a engineer 3, and so I had all of the time experience requirements, everything, and so I will never forget. I asked them, particularly with my boss leaving, and this was 100%. I told my dad ahead of asking them for this that I was testing their loyalty. That was the only reason. Thank you, Mookie. The only reason that I asked for this was I was testing their loyalty to me. With my boss leaving and me being the most senior engineer, and then on top of that, the only other engineer in our office was leaving, and I knew that. And she was leaving because her husband got a job somewhere else, and so she was leaving. She had to either relocate to one of our other offices, but anyways, I was going to be the only engineer left in this office, and I knew that. And so I was going to use that for leverage. That's exactly right, Mookie, and that's exactly what I realized. Although I will say I think my current company is a little bit different, but that company, I will never forget, I met all of the qualifications for the next title, and I didn't even ask for money. I just asked for the title. And I said, I'm qualified. Yep. But I told them, I said, I'm qualified for this title based on your title breakdown and sheets and everything. And, I said that, if you can ask about it, that would be great. And so anyways, what wound up happening was somebody allegedly asked about it. And, of course, people being people, they're not the brightest. And so sometimes people open their mouths and say a little bit too much. Yep. But sometimes people open their mouths, they say a little bit too much, and that's exactly what happened here, because what I was told was I spoke to my superior about promoting you, and they told me that I cannot promote you because there are other people. Now, this is a ridiculous answer too, But he said there are other people who are just as qualified as you are, who even have more experience than you do, and they haven't gotten promoted yet. Now that was something I pointed out when I left. And I said, what does anybody, like, you have a title with qualifications, and I meet those qualifications. So what does, what does the anybody else have to do with my qualifications? If I'm qualified, I'm qualified. It should have nothing to do with anybody else. And but anyways, so that was the reason they gave me, was there are other people who are just as qualified as you are, but they haven't been promoted, and thus we can't promote you. And so anyways, as it turned out, they offered me a small salary raise instead. And what they didn't think I would find out, and I didn't do anything wrong. I found this out just by looking at internal things that I was entitled to look at. And I found out that they processed my small salary raise on the same day that they promoted almost every other person that they claimed was the reason that I couldn't be promoted. They promoted almost every other person. And to this day, I don't know why they did that. The only thing I can presume is that they did that because my guess is they did that because the region that I was in, the region that I work in, is a very small region for the company. It's an expansion area for the company. And they had just gone out and they had just hired, they had one person leave our DC office. And they went out and replaced that one person with 3 people. And the reason they did that was because those 3 people pretty much came as a package deal, if you will. And so they came as a package deal, meaning that they all 3 came from the same company, and basically the one guy that they were really interested in said, I'm willing to come, but you have to let me bring these people with me. And so they hired 3 people from one company, and those 3 people also, they were not cheap. So one of them was like an engineer with like 15 years of experience. The other one, where they can join triplets, yeah. No, one of them was an engineer with like 15 to 20 years of experience. The other one was a engineer with where can I put this? Like maybe 5 to 6 years of experience. So pretty much equivalent to me, but he had just gotten licensed as an engineer, which means he's going to be more expensive because as soon as somebody gets licensed, they're more expensive. And then the last one was a lady who had been working with the guy that had 15 to 20 years experience, and she had like 25 to 30 years experience. Now she didn't have like a a bachelor's degree or anything, but she, just based on experience alone, she was going to command a certain amount. So, yeah, pretty much they wound up hiring those 3 people, and when they did that for that package deal, and they had these people were not bringing any work with them. So it's not like when they hired them, there was an expectation that they were going to bring additional work or anything. No, that was not the case. So my presumption is when I didn't get that promotion, it's because the titles are associated with salary raises or salary, salary adjustments or ranges or whatever. And if they were to promote me to the next title, they would have had to give me a salary raise. And my guess is after, my boss went and hired 3 people for that office that probably commanded quite a bit of money and weren't bringing any other work in, nobody was going to give my boss more money to fucking throw around, So I think that's what happened. Obviously, it has nothing to do with me, but it wound up impacting me. So it's unfortunate, but anyways. So anyways. But now I feel like I actually do feel like I'm at a company that values me. Although I will say there was some recent things that I don't agree with. I think that I haven't gotten closure on them yet, so I won't speak prematurely yet. But there are some things that they did that I don't think are indicative of showing their value. However, I did have a conversation with my boss about those things, and my boss has actually told me that if they don't, what it is it's reimbursement for grad school, and my boss has already told me that if my boss has already told me that if the company is not going to agree to pay pay for my grad school, then they will find he and others will find workarounds to still get them to pay for it. Meaning that if they won't agree to a tuition reimbursement, like he can give me, for instance, he said he can give me bonuses that equal the tuitions payments. So there's ways around it that we can work out. But, other than the tuition reimbursement thing, they've actually been very good to me. So they've been good to me, and I've noticed they also, over the last year, they definitely do seem to have taken more of more of an interest in what I bring to the table. So, for instance, they decided to end. A a group, a technical focus group, and start a new sort of version of it. And they asked for me to be one of the lead people on it. So I think that shows. They asked for me to be one of the lead people on it amidst somebody who has, probably 20 years of experience, and the other one has about 15 years. So, they are giving me quite a bit of responsibility. You know what? I'm going to just do a TV now since I'm already up and I'm doing this stuff already. Pulling things apart here. So once I'm done with kind of packing some of this stuff up, probably shower and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to but surely getting set. Feel a lot better about this move. Now, your day. I used to smoke cigars back in the day. Not like, and not like a ton. I'd say I probably used to smoke like every couple of weeks, every 2-3 weeks. I used to buy cigars, and I don't know, I just found a cigar poker. I don't need that anymore. I don't smoke, man. I don't smoke. Back in the day, I used to. I never really smoked. I would smoke. There was a buddy of mine who, he was, even him. He wasn't really a. I wouldn't consider him a cigarette smoker per se. He tended to have cigarettes on him quite often, but like I don't recall him really, leaving to go smoke or anything like that. He was much more of a casual smoker. And certainly when we drank, we would smoke. That was really the thing that we did. Or certainly I did. So I smoked cigarettes every once in a while, mostly while drinking in college. And then, but my thing in college was really, I smoked cigars every once in a while. But the bad thing that I really got into in college was it's called dip, or basically like loose leaf tobacco. So essentially, you just put the tobacco in your mouth, and basically the way that it works is it cuts up your the one that you got. I believe most of them cut up your lip. So you place it on the inside of your lip, and then most of them have like fiberglass and shit. And fiberglass and shit, and basically you put it in, it cuts up your lip, it absorbs the nicotine in the tobacco, and so that was a much greater high, I guess if you could, than smoking cigarettes, because you were basically getting the nicotine high going right into your bloodstream. And so, actually, the way I got into that was a buddy of mine in college. He was doing it. I knew it was not a good thing to do, but he got me into it. One night we were drinking, and so he had it, and we all knew that he did it. And, one night he said, "Why don't you try it?" That's how a lot of shit happens, No, I never did that with hard drugs or anything. Just with the chain tobacco, and I wound up doing that for 3 years. That was not a short-term thing. And actually, the reason I stopped doing it was that first job that I was talking about, one day I just like completely randomly, and sometimes I think things happen for a reason, but sort of randomly, yeah, I went to um, but yeah, I went to out of nowhere. I couldn't do it. It was like I wanted to just go back, and so I just stopped doing it at that point. I don't know what happened. I just couldn't do it anymore. Let's come over here. I'll tell you, the one other nice thing about moving is going to be it's what battery at? Battery's actually at 27. I'll be able to hang stuff finally. So I have stuff that I've always wanted to hang, pictures and stuff. And I've never really done it of the apartment, but now that I own the place, I can hang all that stuff. I still don't want to put nails in the wall, but let's see if I can buy some of those like 3M, those things. Those 3M sticky things for the wall. That way. Wow. That makes this place look a lot fucking bigger too. I just pulled out that big TV box behind the TV. Oh man. Finish this up here. PlayStation. Is that it? Oh, no. Yeah, so once I get done with this, what time is it? I don't even know. It's only 3:24. That's good. I might actually go all out right now since I'm kind of in a groove. I'm gonna see if I can maybe take that shoe rack apart. And, the shoe rack apart. pretty much almost be done with the main room here. Feeling a lot better now. That really should pretty much just leave the pretty much just leave the kitchen for tonight. Get that shoe rack taken care of. Unpacking. That's the next step, but usually that's a little bit. I guess keep it simple, classic. Stop, Bill. The dog's probably wondering what the hell's going on. Why is he doing this stuff? I hate to have about this yesterday. I hate to have banks. Like the default is still paper billings. I really hate that, man. I wish that the default would freaking. Wish it was paperless billings nowadays. But it's not. Just put it back to my. Mhm. Pretty amazing, my router. Hey, what's up, Santo Domingo? Pretty amazing to me, my router. So I got my router back in 2015, I think. No, 2014, because that's when I moved down here in Jersey. They had Xfinity. So you had to get the special router with the cable connection rather than the Ethernet connection. I'm sure Fios has gotten similar to Xfinity, but back in the day, Verizon, at least when I was at home, we had Verizon DSL, and they used to have, you plugged into an Ethernet cable and that fed your internet, not a cable connection. Xfinity always had the cable connection. So I had to get that router back in 2015. I want to say I bought that router for, I think I got one of the cheaper ones that was available that worked for Xfinity, just because they gave you the option, you can rent a router or whatever, but the renting is like $5-10 a month. Pretty much by the time that you rent the router for a year, I mean, yeah, but if anything was wrong with it, they'll replace it over here, but what's going to go wrong with it realistically? So I wound up just buying the router back in the day, and that thing is still kicking, man. No problems. And I would say the one thing that I did do, which I wouldn't normally do, was when I decided to go that route though, and I decided to use my own router. I did pay for a professional installation because I swear there are some settings that they touch that you would never know to touch. You didn't get professional installation, and I feel like that might be why my router is still working so good as it is. And most people, especially when you consider, like I said, I got that router back in 2014. That was 2014 to now is a long time. 5 years of technology, especially when you consider, they have the dual band routers now. So I wouldn't mind getting one of those, but I ain't gonna replace it until this one doesn't work anymore, to be honest. Same with the TV. I was talking on Periscope about this. Yeah, because I'm packing a bunch of stuff. I'm busy. I can't carry y'all around with me. And pack at the same time. That's why you're looking at the ceiling. So this is really just a chatting broadcast because I can't devote tons of attention right now to y'all. Quite frankly. Trying to pack here. And quite frankly, I'm making some really good progress. There are the boxes here. Yeah. Sorry that you have to look at myself. I'm on a roll right now. I gotta keep going on a roll. But what I am going to do is once I'm done with this roll, I am going to switch my focus. I'm going to take a shower after this because I'm getting a little sweaty and disgusting doing all this. And I have to do some coursework that's due tomorrow by midnight. I actually have an exam for that course that I have to take by Saturday, which is kind of crappy. And I have another course that I actually have to take. I have to finish the entire first part of the course by next Monday. And I haven't started yet. So, yeah, we're trying to do it best we can. Break this TV box. Anyways. But yeah, once I take the shower, I'm gonna see what time it is. I'll have to take the dogs out at some point. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for dinner. I have ravioli that I bought that I really should use before I move. More likely than not, I'm gonna wind up in the garbage. So, be good if I get that. I'm just so, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those things. I feel like ordering out and whatever. I guess I wouldn't say it's a treat for me, because in a lot of ways I do. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's special for me. I still feel like in some ways it still is a treat. You know, we work hard. Try to stick together, break it down, somehow. Definitely looking a lot better than I did. Even a couple of years ago. Now I'm much more confident. The move. Funny too, looking at how much stuff I'm going to have to move. I don't think it's going to take very long. Oh, that freight elevator here is pretty big. And you have much to do stuff. I said not everything's going either, so. I sort of already anticipated that this move, in order to move my stuff out, I wouldn't be surprised if it's less than an hour. Be surprised. one thing that kind of sucks is that I'm not going to have all my furniture there when I move, you know? That's the only thing that kind of sucks about the whole thing. So I'm not going to be able to really fully move in per se. So furniture is there. That comes next Tuesday. In a couple days. So I'll basically be without furniture, but that's all right. To be honest with you, it's furniture, but I don't even have now. So I guess the hardest part is going to be the lack of a dining table, but that's not a big deal. I'll just wind up ultimately I end up eating at my recliner or whatever. Probably gotta have takeout anyways for a little while. So I can get groceries done. All that jazz. Wish I could put y'all in a better spot, but it's kind of hard right now. Good spot. Help here. Think so. Help a little bit. Jeez, they don't want you breaking these boxes down. Look at that. Box is huge, though. Oh, let's say we're about halfway there. Oh, I'm gonna end the broadcast for now, and I'll be back later.